Every niche in cycling has its own unique customs, culture, and vocabulary, and gravel cycling is no different. One of the challenges of gravel riding is that it's such a poor descriptor of what people actually do. The word gravel sets up the false assumption that people want to go out of their way to ride a certain size aggregate, when I think that's actually pretty far from the truth. I think what people actually mean is that they want to ride an unpaved or unmaintained road, which may or may not actually have gravel aggregate on it. Beyond just that fundamental problem and misunderstanding, that one word is really incapable of describing the very terrain that one would encounter on a gravel ride. So in this video, I reached out to our Discord and our YouTube community and asked them what words that they used or that they heard were used to describe all the different kind of permutations of road you could encounter on a gravel ride. Welcome back, Pathless Peddlers, and if you're new to the channel, if you're into the non-competitive side of cycling or riding party pace, the light is already on, yes, I know. If you found your people, hit that subscribe button. This first set of words I'm calling descriptors, which are good words to use to describe, the substrate that you're riding on at the moment. So for describing those smooth and fast unpaved roads, there are words like hero gravel, which yes, it does borrow from the mountain biking term hero dirt, but has carried over into the gravel riding niche. In that same vein, there is hard packed. So that is a surface that's really packed down either dry dirt or gravel dust that rolls really fast like pavement and doesn't have a whole lot of loose aggregate on top of it. So kind of another variation of primo gravel, or a new one to me is Cadillac gravel, which kind of describes the same thing. So basically your dream unpaved road surface, which rolls fast and doesn't have too much loose stuff on top. It's a surface that those gravelly dreams are made of. But of course, things can't always be perfect. Now we're gonna use words that get progressively chunkier, starting off with pea gravel, which I believe is actually a road aggregate term that's used. So like the name would suggest, it's kind of smallish size gravel, also known as kitty litter gravel or skittles. Maybe slightly larger and a little bit more pejorative is marbles. I.e., I was cruising down this primo hero gravel and almost wiped out when I hit the marbles on the corner. Other road construction terms that have actually migrated into the cycling space are phrases like river rock or even Jersey Shore. So that's kind of like this sandy, tanny looking gravel. I've also heard the phrase 3/4 minus used to describe a road surface. There's an event in Sandpoint, Idaho, and it was called the 3/4 minus cycle tour. Again, playing off of that actual road construction term. Freshies is another term that was suggested in our Discord server, and this is a fresh, thick layer that the county road crew has left. It's usually pretty deep and it goes edge to edge. So you definitely want to slow your roll when you're going through some freshies. So getting a little thicker and chunkier, you can find yourself riding down some chunder. In the Ochiko Overlander event that we rode, there's actually one section that is affectionately called, or maybe not affectionately called, Chunder Mountain, because it is just chunky. You could use the word chonky or chonk, and had lots of baby heads, which as a name unfortunately suggests are, rocks about this size. Our Dutch friends, I think, have a much cuter term for this word, and it's kinderkopen. Another adjective that I've seen sparingly used, but just brings a smile to my face, is the word thick, and that is with 2 C's when describing gravel. I think I might incorporate that a little bit more. This gravel is thick, 2 C's. A word that's used to describe the more kind of general road condition is double track. So that would be a road, or what was previously a road, but is overgrown in the middle. So it looks like 2 bits of single track side by side. Another variation of that is 2-track. And lastly, sometimes when you're going on a 2-track road out in the middle of nowhere, you'll run into the occasional tank trap. So this is a purposely built depression in an unmaintained road that's put there to really discourage motorized vehicle use. Usually on the bike you can get through it, but if you're just in a regular car, that's just not happening. So tank trap. Okay, so that was the descriptors. For the next set of words, I'm going to call this road classifications, because they're kind of embedded in some municipal language, but it's found its way into being used in gravel cycling. In the Pacific Northwest, there is an abundance of Forest Service roads. So these are unpaved or gravel roads that go through national forests and sometimes are numbered with NF as a prefix followed by a number to denote the road number. And then there are logging roads which may or may not be open to the public, but they've been used by the timber industry and they tend to be pretty tore up when you think about the big trucks that are hauling trees down these roads. Interesting thing about logging roads is that they're very seasonal. There are some years when you can ride them and not run into any traffic and it's just a dream. And in other years when they're being actively logged, that they become a bit more of a nightmare because you are contending with big and fast moving traffic. That is one interesting feature about gravel roads or dirt roads in the Pacific Northwest is that they have a seasonality to them. Some years are good and you come back the other year and it's just absolute trash. Another type of road which I heard and saw a lot in Southern California are fire roads. So these are roads that are built to help mitigate fire response. I don't know if they're necessarily designed to act as a fire break, but certainly they could act like that. But their primary focus, I believe, is to give access to the fire department to help suppress put out fires when they pop up. In the Midwest, there are A, B, and C roads. So A roads are county maintained. They tend to be graveled and graded. B roads are mostly dirt and seldom maintained. So these are your MMR, minimum maintenance roads. And C roads you probably shouldn't ride on because they tend to be private property, but also their maintenance is questionable. Another interesting regional difference is in Vermont, they have a class 4 road, which I believe is equivalent to a B road. So again, minimally maintained by the county, and you kind of travel at your own risk. I think that's most of the road classifications that people suggested. Now on to a couple interesting regional differences. In Oregon, there's a really popular bikepacking route called the Oregon Outback. And the first year people rode it, there was a little bit of rain, and as people were riding through a cindery section, it turned into what became the infamous quote unquote red sauce. So as you can imagine, it's thick, it's red, it just destroys your drivetrain. Georgia apparently has a variation of red sauce, which they like to call red mud. And speaking of mud, we didn't even get into the wet stuff yet. I've heard the phrase peanut butter mud, rocky road when it's mud mixed in with road aggregate. That's like the worst because it just eats away at your bike. And wrapping up, we've got some honorable mentions. One of them, people love to hate it, and it's the phrase grab grab. I think it might be a play on nar, but in the gravel space, I think I first saw Bicycle Pubes use it. I don't know if he was the originator of grab grab, but there you go. Another word I'm not too fond of is grody. So G, roady, grody. That just reminds me of being in grade school and being like, ew, that's grody. In our Discord, someone said I should reference the Unified Soil Classification System. So here it is. It's basically some words and some letters to help describe the makeup of the soil. Not so pertinent all the time because it doesn't really address the different types of road aggregate, but from a soil perspective, 100%. And the last word, this was submitted in the YouTube comments by Matthew Loken, and this is for a very serious gravel ride, and that is gravitas. So what do you think of these words? Are these words that you've heard, that you've used? Are there any that we have left out? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, found it entertaining or helpful, please visit our merch shop. You can buy, we still have tons of gravel specific stickers as well as our Party Pace merch. All of that helps the channel going. As you guys know, we don't have any major brand sponsorships or anything like that. The YouTube truck of money has yet to show up, so it's 100% supported by you guys. Until next time, keep the supple side down.